to the Killer Countdown. Each episode, 2 contestants will count down the greatest horror films of all time. The 2 will collaboratively create a top 8 list of that episode's topic. Join the Killer Countdown if you dare.
Welcome to the Killer Countdown, the horror-themed podcast brought to you by Backlot 605. Do not change the dial. Yes, this is a different voice. It is Blake. I'm hosting today. Casey, why am I hosting today?
Because I'm playing the game, that's why.
He's playing the game.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Good intro.
For the listeners, I did a lot of push-ups and I was stressing out about doing the intro for the very first time ever. So we're joined by a special guest today, a returning guest actually. You were on Cory. You were on our So Bad It's Good episode
on the Backlot main show.
And
yes.
We found out that you really loved the Nightmare on Elm Street series, and we decided to ask you on to take down Casey, who keeps talking about how he's the greatest Nightmare fan of all time. So here you are.
That's right.
Okay.
I'm here to fight it. Just kidding. I think we're going to be pretty even keeled on this one.
I kind of hope that I don't get the last 2, as in,
1 and 2 or 8 or 7 and 8.
Yeah, 7 and 8.
Okay.
Because, I think that might be where we go off into different areas, but I think that once we get to the top, it's going to be pretty much the...
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, so I'm thinking this is going to be a shorter episode, so I'm going to try something a little different today. I want to know, Cory, what some of the recent horror movies that you've watched in the past, 2 weeks.
Past 2 weeks.
How big is that list?
Yeah, I mean, if I maybe find like 2 or 3 that you really loved and want to speak on.
Okay.
And you can include Velocipaster if you want to.
Yeah.
I don't know if that is. I don't know if I want to say horror movies 100%. Let me just go to my list here. Okay. Once it actually loads. Yeah. Okay. Well, Cabin Boy could kind of be considered a horror film, but I watched Ice Cream Man with Clint Howard.
Yes.
Basically about a killer ice cream man. I still haven't watched they've integrated on the Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray a version of the film that features the Monster Vision stuff by Joe Bob Briggs. And
wow, are you serious?
Yeah, there is a version of the film that has that.
I might have to buy this Blu-ray.
And I haven't looked at it yet, but that is going to be probably something while I'm writing posts, I might throw that on. But yeah, if you haven't seen Ice Cream Man, it's super fun. It is a movie that I'm not entirely certain is 100% serious, but
sure.
I think there are people there that took it a little bit seriously. I forgot. It also features an American werewolf, David Naughton, and an airwolf, Jan Michael Vincent.
Interesting.
They are both in that film. And also Doug Llewellyn from People's Court is in it. He plays the grocery store manager.
Where did you find this at, or do you own it?
I own it.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe that's a bad question.
Do you love
to ask.
Clint Howard as much as I do, Cory?
Yes, I do.
I think he's actually a legit great actor.
He is.
Clint Howard or Ron Howard?
Clint
Which
Howard.
one? No, which one's better?
Clint.
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 Yeah.
Okay.
Clint, I think, understands his place in life better than his brother Ron does. Ron is an okay filmmaker.
Yeah.
He's a consummate professional.
He's a mercenary.
Yeah, I mean, if you need something done, he'll come in and get it done.
Yeah.
I'm not
Solo.
referencing to, thank you very much.
I'll say it. Solo.
Yeah, I mean, he's a workman.
Yep.
And that's it. There's nothing about his style that's great. Oh, and I also watched See No Evil 2.
Okay. Is that also with Kane?
Yeah, it is.
The first one wasn't bad, actually.
And I don't like the first one
Okay.
at all. I haven't watched it for years.
Sure.
But There's in the opening sequence, it's directed by Gregory Dark, which is a former porn director.
Sure.
And during the opening credit sequence, there actually literally is a scene of two cockroaches fucking.
Oh.
And that was the moment when I'm like, okay, this is that type of movie. It's an edgelord type of movie of, we're just going to be shocking and dark.
Yeah.
And more than likely.
Like the Human Centipede.
Yeah. But the Human Centipede, I think, there were people involved in that kind of made it a little bit more entertaining.
Sure.
But See No Evil 2, directed by the Soska sisters, is fantastic. It's really good. It surprised me. Because it has Catherine Isabel from American Mary and Ginger Snaps.
She's kind of like a really good...
Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ginger Snaps?
Yeah. Ginger Snaps is fantastic.
She's like this generation's like Laurie Strode or Jamie Lee Curtis, I should say. She's a
scream queen.
Yeah.
I'm out of one. Yeah. I've never actually seen these movies, even though I'm a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Like horror fan.
Yeah.
Like these should be right up my alley.
Yeah.
I would recommend. I fully recommend See No Evil 2. It has Danielle Harris in it. And a bunch of other people that I didn't really recognize. But, if you like just kind of a slasher film, it's really well done. Soska Sisters took a screenplay that could have been a nothing script and turned it into specifically the last, I'd say, minute and a half to 2 minutes does a thing in a horror movie that I've never seen. And it gives you this lasting sense of sadness and loss.
Really?
And Catherine Isabel is probably... Her performance in that movie makes the movie.
Huh.
She turns what is a lackluster role, which is the screaming crybaby, into probably the funniest part of the movie.
I think you might have sold me on watching this.
I would highly recommend it. I picked it up for, I think, $8 for the Blu-ray at last stop.
Okay.
So, I mean, if you don't like it, or I'll loan you my copy.
Sure.
It's fine. I'm probably not going to watch it again anytime soon.
Okay.
But
You're on. Casey, have you watched anything recently?
Yeah.
That is not part of the Nightmare series?
Yeah, I did rewatch at least the first 6 in the Nightmare series within the last 2-3 weeks and in prep for this. But then I also watched a couple films I'd never seen before. One is The Changeling.
yeah.
Yeah.
Not the Clint Eastwood Changeling.
No.
Which is great, but...
The horror film,
right.
Yes. The Changeling, I'm kind of prepping just in case we end up doing something with haunted houses pretty soon.
Okay.
Little tease, but it's that era of film is something I miss. Those type of horror films, like it reminds me a lot of like The Omen, Rosemary's Baby, those type of horror films, and it's all about a man secluded in this mansion after he loses his family. And he begins experiencing, obviously, paranormal things that happen. And it's all about unraveling this mystery and how it connects to, like, politics. And it's just a super interesting story and great leads. And, just an overall story where it doesn't have to have cheap jump scares, where it has genuinely scary moments, has a fantastic score.
It's one of those classy movies.
Yes, it is. And I miss that.
Yeah, I know.
I haven't seen it in about 20 years, but I remember really having a ball with it. And
I think it's on Shudder.
Yeah, that's where I watched it, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I think it actually might be on Prime, too.
Then I would assume it's probably on Prime if it's on Shudder,
yeah.
Another one I watched was Bad Moon. I know, Blake, you watched this one,
I
too.
did,
after.
so we can kind of talk about it together,
Yeah.
You've seen Bad Moon, right?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
This movie's fucking awesome.
I love Eric Red. He was the writer of The Hitcher, and he's also written and directed a film called 100 Feet with, I think, Linda Fiorentino. And, he has a style to it. It's not my favorite werewolf movie, but it's super fun.
I found myself checking out in the second act a little bit.
I understand.
But what I did appreciate was... It was less than 120 minutes. Or I'm sorry. It was less than an hour and 20 minutes long. So it was very short, and so with that, the director really gets a lot of miles out of building tension and atmosphere, without adding 20 minutes that probably don't need to be there. So I really enjoyed that. Casey brought this up, but I really enjoyed the practical effects. The werewolf effects were really, really good.
The effects are really good. I found the movie really ballsy that the main character is the dog, Thor.
Yeah.
Like, that's the main character, who you follow, who you're rooting for. That's awesome.
It kind of reminded me of like in a way, the movie plays itself off as like not a Peter and the Wolf, but the boy who cried wolf, except the dog is the boy, and like no one believes this dog that someone close to the family happens to be a werewolf. Like the audience knows the entire time, but every character in the movie doesn't. And
your main character that can't speak, it's a dog.
Right.
Yeah. And as someone who owns a dog, like this movie, I was watching it with my fiance, and we both started tearing up at one point, and then I'm like,
really?
If this dog doesn't come back to kill that werewolf, I will hate it. And not to spoil anything, but we had a good ending. Yeah. We had a good ending on that.
So yeah, I would recommend it. It felt like one of those movies that came out against like GoldenEye or Twister in the 90s and then just didn't do anything. Yeah. Because it was the budget seemed like
the weird thing about it is it feels like a 90s family comedy. Just the way it's
feels like a family movie.
Set up. Yeah.
Yeah.
About the kid and his dog and
throw
in a werewolf.
And there's a scene at the beginning of the movie where there's a grifter who comes to Mariel Hemingway's house to get money out of her by claiming that the dog attacked, and then you're kind of like, oh, what is this?
What was the point of that?
And then an hour later, the movie pays off that whole thing in spades, and it's a really smart horror movie that if you hadn't said anything, it's definitely one that I would have skipped over. Yesterday when I was watching horror movies.
Another really good fun one, I think it's Eric Red, Body Parts with
Jeff Fahey. Yes. That is a great movie too. Yeah. Yep, you're right.
Yeah. Is that all the high recommends for both of those for me.
I also watched Bad Moon, and I'm not going to go into it again, but I watched two other horror movies that I really, really enjoyed. I was completely shocked at loving one of them, and that is 2019's Ma, which I was flabbergasted at how much I enjoyed this movie. The preview, my wife and I saw the preview in front of some movie this past year in the theater, and we were just like, we turned and looked like, what the hell? What is that? And we happened to watch it Friday night, and I was completely enthralled with every second of the movie. Like Octavia Spencer, like if the Oscars were a little bit more transgressive with their picks, like she would easily be on like my ballot for like a Best Actress nomination. Like she's fantastic in this movie. Have any of you seen this movie at all?
I haven't yet. I have really heard nothing but negative things about it. So
same here. I've heard bad stuff except for Octavia.
It goes places, and then you're like, wow, this movie has balls. And then, but it doesn't feel cheap. Like you feel like the movie earns its comeuppance. It earns its ending. And I was completely shocked by how much I really enjoyed it.
I'm still looking forward to watching it. Yeah. Directed by Tate Taylor, right?
Yes. Yeah, who's not a horror director.
No.
But he gets mileage out of this. And the other one that I watched that I absolutely I was shocked that it was this good. It was a movie called Madman from 1981.
Yes.
This is the best Friday the 13th movie that I've seen. It's so good. It's almost the exact same thing, except like no boy drowns. No, there's no one out for revenge really. It starts around this campfire where they're telling scary stories at this summer camp. Except I think it's in November or something. Yeah. It's really cold. But this guy's telling the story about this guy. I forget the name.
I can't.
Madman Mason or something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
And he's like, if you say his name above a whisper, like he's gonna come and he's gonna kill you. And of course, this one dumbass kid's like, "Who? Madman Mason's gonna come get me? You think I'm afraid of Madman Mason?" Like really driving a point home. you know, and then of course, you know, this guy comes out and he starts ripping people to shreds. But like, I thought there's a lot of really great scenes. I don't know when the last time you watched it was, Cory, but like,
it's been probably 3 or 4 months because it was part of the Joe Bob Briggs last drive-in.
So there's some shots in this that like I wish more horror movies would do.
Yeah.
There's a shot where all these people they're leaving the campfire, and the one kid looks up, and the madman is in this tree with the moon lit behind him, and he's got the silhouette, and he's just staring at everyone not moving, and the one kid sees him, and it's just like it's little things like that make me like really fall in love with a movie. And then there's so many sequences where he is like, I don't know if I want to say he's hunting somebody, but like, you know, it's the classic scene of the guy, like someone's in the woods and they're like, oh, is somebody out there? And, and like just the way that these people made this movie, like it's terrific.
And it has a filmmaking style to it that you don't get until the later entries in the Friday the 13th series, where you actually have, I mean, because Cunningham is not a good director.
Sure.
I mean, he made movies for schlock purposes.
For schlock and profit.
Yes. And this one, while it has elements of it just wants to be another slasher, there was some care put into it.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun, and it's not fun in the way that, say, you know, Sleepaway Camp is. It's kind of brooding in a weird way, but there are these weird kind of digressions that happen in the film.
But it handles its changes in tone very well.
Oh yeah.
It's not like this, like, oh, all of a sudden this is a comedy. Like it for some, they find like the right notes to hit through all the scenes.
I would highly recommend it also.
It's on Amazon.
One that I own,
it's on Shudder. I'm watching it tonight.
It's on Amazon Prime.
I'm not allowed to watch Shudder not Shudder slasher movies when the fiance's home. Oh, so she's at work tonight. That's my go-to. Thank you.
Man, oh yeah. As the sun's setting, boom, put it on.
All right.
It's a stellar movie. Well, I think we can move on a little bit here.
Sure.
Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk about. I just Nightmare on Elm Street. I want to know where you guys met this property at, where you were in your life when you first met Freddy Krueger, and just kind of get a general idea of like why you fell in love with the series and what it means to you, what speaks to you. I'm really curious. I don't whoever wants to go first.
You go first.
Yeah, I can go first. The first time I ever got acquainted with the name A Nightmare on Elm Street was very young. I had a family that lived on Elm Street, and they'd always tell me about this movie called A Nightmare on Elm Street, and just the title. I never saw a picture of Freddy, didn't know what the movie was about a guy going in your dreams, nothing about that. It was just the title alone scared the hell out of me as a kid. Mm-hmm. Like, I wouldn't want to sleep at their house just because something bad's going to happen on Elm Street.
Right. Like they made a movie out of it.
Yeah. And I thought, I'm like, it's this Elm Street right here, like that I'm at. And as I grew up and figured out, you know, it's a movie and what it's about, finally me and my buddies, we bought the 2 4-pack DVDs from Walmart.
How old were you when you bought these movies?
Like 16 years old.
Perfect.
Yeah, and we literally sat and watched from the first Nightmare all the way to New Nightmare, all in one night.
Wow.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was fun.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Yeah, it was like a Saturday or Sunday morning. We started in the morning, finished at night, and it was awesome. Me and my buddies instantly fell in love.
Yeah, that's cool.
So that's kind of where I fell in love with it, and then as I grew a little older and started understanding like filmmaking side of it and just the amount of work and practical effects, and that's the biggest thing for me that I love about it is the inventiveness of everything within pretty much all the movies.
Sure. Is
why I fell in love with it. I equate it to how I felt as a kid watching Star Wars for the first time, how much work and imagination went into it. This is like my horror version of Star Wars.
Sure.
And obviously you can see that now in the office that we're in. This is my favorite franchise.
There's a lot of
ever
Nightmare merchandise all around this room, and it's very cool. I love the glove and the scarf, by the way.
Yes.
It's very cool.
The scarf is cool. Like I got that in like a horror box I used to subscribe to.
Just like to interject really quickly, my introduction to this series was like, kind of like, oh, I've heard of the series when you're a kid, and it's kind of like, you know, Freddy Krueger's this boogeyman that you don't speak of, and then I used to go to this after school like daycare type thing. Okay. So my mom was a single mom, and so we had to wait there after school. But there's a guy who you know worked there at this after school program who was very good at like just describing movies that he saw. And this was one of them. He described like in detail and very good at like getting down the mood of like, and then Freddy walked into the door. Like he could really get into it, you know. And he described this whole movie to like a group of kids, and I remember just being terrified of it. And it was years later until I finally watched it. But that was the intro that I remember to the series. And then I found out that there was, you know, like a billion other movies to it. But
well, and for me, I ended up seeing the first couple at my grandma's house because she fell asleep and HBO was still on, and they played. It was not long after Nightmare 2 came out, and so they did a double feature of the first one and the second one, and I sat and watched those and was scared shitless because I think I was maybe 7 or 8.
Sure.
And then later on, I'd say the one that I first watched proper as a choice was probably Dream Warriors. And Dream Warriors is, for me, as a kid that didn't really feel like I mean, I come from a divorced family. My dad's not the greatest person in the world. My mom's super awesome. But, you know, I was always the weird kid and the little punk kid, but not in the way of, you know, being mean or anything. I was just kind of the weird kid that liked, you know, crazy stuff and older bands. And with the characters in Dream Warriors, I felt like, oh, well, they actually made a movie about people like me.
Yeah.
You know, the Dungeon Master character,
the
punk rock chick,
yeah.
You know, the person that wants to be a movie star. And, you know, you have these feelings, you know, kids don't understand depression, but, you know, you have these feelings of depression, and the mental hospital aspect of it plays into that movie very well. Mm-hmm. And where it's okay if you're not, quote unquote, normal.
Yeah.
So,
I subscribe to the theory that normal doesn't exist.
It doesn't. You're taught to be normal.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Are you guys ready to do this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So Cory, how we're going to do this is we have a hat in front of us. It looks like is that a Freddy hat or is it just a hat?
It looks like it. I don't think it actually is.
All right. So the numbers.
Close enough.
So we're going to create a list here of 8 movies.
Oh.
And how we're going to do this is I'm going to hold the hat up and you're going to draw one card out. And then Casey's going to draw one card out. And I'm going to give it back to you. And then you draw another one. And then he'll take the last one.
Okay.
And then we'll just, whoever has, you know, the number 8 will go first. And we'll just go through the order. And then after that, we will do 4 through 1.
Yeah. So right now in the hat is the numbers 8 through 5. So that's how we'll do the top half of the bracket. Bottom half.
So you have no say over where your picks
and then,
that's all right.
Do you want to introduce this little?
Yeah.
Maybe I should put the Freddy glove here instead.
So we have a knife in front of us. It could be the Freddy glove.
Okay.
You get one stab. Mm-hmm. If you do not like where a movie is placed, you can stab it off the list.
Okay.
That movie is not gone from the game entirely. With
right.
a shorter list, it makes sense that it'll come back. But
Maybe.
That's true.
We have 9 movies.
We have 9 movies, and we're making a top 8.
Yep.
Okay. So you get one stab. So I want you to use it wisely if you do not agree with where a movie is placed.
Yeah.
Okay. Casey, you also get one stab.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You ready to draw?
I'm fine with it. Yeah, let's do this.
I'm going to hold it up high so you can't see what you're looking at.
Okay. I'm going to grab that.
I honestly don't know what I would play depending on where we are.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Are you ready to go?
I guess so.
I don't know who has what numbers, so I'm really excited to see.
I won't show you then.
Who is gonna give me a movie first?
All right.
It sounds like Casey has.
I do have the number 8. So.
You can hand me whenever you're ready.
Yep. I need to find it here. But I do know what I want to play at number 8, and I think this is the only rightful spot for it.
Okay. In the number 8 spot, Casey has played A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6, Freddy is Dead. I said that wrong. It's Freddy's Dead, but Nightmare Part 6.
Yes.
Casey, explain.
So Nightmare on Elm Street Part 6. So this movie takes place a little bit after the events of Part 5. Basically, all the kids on not only Elm Street, but in Springwood are dead. They're gone. Freddy has succeeded in killing them all, but one John Doe. And Freddy basically sends him out into the real world and says, "Fetch me more kids." And basically, this John Doe character, he doesn't know who he is, what his purpose is. He knows about this guy that's in his dreams, but he's trying to figure out what his whole purpose in life is. And he ends up at this, very similar to Dream Warriors. He ends up in this like group home, I think it is.
Yeah.
Something like that. Where Lisa Zane is one of the caretakers or mentors or something there. And basically these kids that she mentors, including a young Breckenmeyer, they take off in one of the company vans and end up back on Elm Street, back under Freddy's reign. So this John Doe character has done what Freddy has wanted him to do, bring him more children to torture and kill. And basically, we are going to spoil all the movies too.
Yeah, so, that's fine.
Throughout the movie, this John Doe character is trying to figure out like what his purpose is. Spoilers: he has no purpose. He has nothing to do besides bring more children to Freddy.
Yeah.
The whole movie is setting up that he's Freddy's kid, but it turns out Lisa Zane is Freddy's daughter, which is never mentioned in any previous movies. And the reason it's number 8 for me is because this movie has no real purpose. I feel there are fun sequences. Freddy is just straight up, he is the main character in this movie. No one else is the main character. He is straight up stand-up comedian Freddy. One-liners is every single line he's delivering. The power glove. He's basically Wile E. Coyote at one point.
Yes.
Yes.
He pushes out a bed of nails into the road.
Yes. He breaks the fourth wall at least twice that I counted this last time I watched it.
Does he just stare at the camera, or what does he do?
One with the Wile E. Coyote thing, he stares at the camera, and then another time a character, he takes out their hearing aid and just goes like shh to the camera so they can't hear it. Freddy's Dead it's not a great film. It's sort of fun. It has good cameos, I guess.
It's tonally very kind of scattershot, because yes, the present day stuff featuring Roseanne and Tom Arnold and
Johnny Depp shows up.
Yes. Yeah. That stuff is super funny. And then you get into the backstory of Freddy Krueger, which is... It
dark.
Almost kind of brings back the pedophile child killer aspect of Freddy Krueger, and it does not work with the rest of the film at all. He abuses his wife. He locks her in the basement.
Do you
it's
think
implied he abuses his daughter?
Oh,
Alice Cooper plays his dad?
Do you think they were trying to push Freddy back to the darker version after a few movies of being like a cartoon character?
No, because...
he's really funny in the first 3/4 of this movie.
And I think that's kind of why I find this movie fascinating, is it almost is
so like... So should it be higher then?
I'm okay with it being where it is. It's not where I would have put it, but it's not going to be terribly...
Sure.
But I will describe it as this. I almost kind of feel like they looked at what Freddy Krueger had become, and they're like, we're going to take that stuff, and we're going to show that to you. and then we're going to give you a giant middle finger for enjoying that shit, and we're going to show you what Freddy Krueger really is. I mean, there's a scene where he crushes a hamster as a child. It gets really fucking dark.
That's all within the last half hour-ish?
And then we haven't brought up that the movie's in 3D.
It is. That final third is Lisa Zane's character literally puts on 3D glasses to inform the audience, hey, it's time to put yours on.
Interesting.
I have a pair of 3D glasses because that is the only Freddy film in its initial run that I ever saw in a movie theater. And I still remember it was promoting House Party 2, I think, on either the left or right stem. It was good stuff. But, I understand its placement.
Yeah. As far as number 8 for me, I feel it has the worst Freddy makeup. It doesn't look good. It looks really rubbery, really fake.
Yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure. I thought I heard that Robert Englund was kind of sick and tired of spending a lot of time putting on makeup for the movie. Directed by Rachel Talalay. She directed Ghost in the Machine and a favorite of mine, Tank Girl. Yeah.
And she's also done a few episodes of Sherlock. And
yes.
Yeah, she's a really decent television director.
Yeah, she was. Me and Cory talked about this beforehand. She's worked on all the Nightmare movies up to Freddy's Dead, and finally getting the chance to direct. I think that's awesome. She got to step in there, but
very cool.
Yeah, number 8.
Okay.
All right. Who? I need the number 7 from somebody. Just the card itself, possibly. Oh, Casey again?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Casey, do you know what movie you're playing at number 7?
Not yet.
Okay, I'll give you a couple seconds before I count you down.
I'm honestly kind of torn as to what to put here because even talking about Freddy's Dead, I'm like, I kind of like it yet.
Sure. So are you regretting your choice?
No, I'm not regretting it. I think that's where it has to be in this series. I don't think there's a...
It sounds like Cory might have...
I would disagree. But we'll go through our... I have my list right here.
You made your list, separate of what...
I have my personal list. So.
Very cool. Casey, did you make a personal list of...
I have my headcanon list.
Okay. All right. At number 8 is Freddy's Dead. I keep screwing that up. At number 7, Casey again is putting A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. So, Cory does not look happy for the record.
I'm not going to stab it.
Let Casey do his thing, and then we'll let you.
I will explain why it's at 7, because after doing my rewatch of the first 6 movies again, this is the one that didn't hold up like I thought it was going to. After part 3, which we will get to, you set up the Dream Warriors, these characters that are Freddy's.
They're the Avengers of the series.
They're the Avengers. They're Freddy's like arch nemesis, like who he needs to fight. The only ones that can stop him. And within the first 20 minutes, all your Dream Warriors are dead. And I think that is a huge misstep for at least part 4. I think what's the main character's name? Played by Lisa Wilcox.
It is Alice.
Alice. I think she is a fine character once we get to part 5. I think she leaves a lot to be desired here in part 4. She's this daydreamer, thinking about dreaming about boys in high school, and I think it's really basic. It's not near as engaging as the Dream Warrior characters, especially when you get to her friend group and her brother and his girlfriend. I don't think any of them are interesting characters at all, especially again compared to the Dream Warriors. I think the kills are fun. One of my favorites, along with I know Cory has brought it up. It is the cockroach kill. I think is one of the best in the series. I do think there is plenty of missteps, though. I think the karate scene is a complete misstep. This movie's directed by Rennie Harlan, and he does a fine job. It's not...
Was this his debut, feature debut?
Well, it wasn't his feature debut. I think his first movie was Prison, if I'm not mistaken. Or his first movie that gained attention was Prison.
His first movie was Born American, and then it was Prison.
Yeah.
And then it was this one. Okay.
Yep. And Prison is fantastic.
Is it Viggo? I think Viggo Mortensen's in Prison. Very cool. All right. Casey, what else on Dream Master?
Uh,
So why at number 7?
At
It
number
seems like
7
you
because-
enjoy a lot of it.
I do enjoy a lot of it, but I think part of it is that you kill the characters that we genuinely grow to love in Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
You kill them right away. Very anticlimactic too. They don't even put up a fight against Freddy. One of them drowns. I can't remember how Kincaid. Yeah, Kincaid is killed in the junkyard. It also doesn't help that Patricia Arquette doesn't come back to play.
What happened there? She just didn't want to do it?
I just didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
It's always been kind of, it sounds like it was more of a money issue than anything.
Okay.
And, I mean, considering that she's really only in it just to introduce Alice to the concept of going inside of your dreams, there is no purpose to really even bring her. Really, almost it felt like they didn't want to do a continuation of the third one, but they felt like they had to, and so they just, okay, we're going to kill off Kincaid, we're going to kill off, what's the...
Joey.
Joey.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to kill off everybody that's left over from the third one, spoiler alert, and we're just going to follow these new characters. And I like her dorky little best friend. As a kid, I always had a thing for her dorky little best friend.
One of my favorite one-liners from Freddy, "Wanna suck face?"
Yeah.
And just sucks the life out of her. It's great.
And they're all archetypes. I mean, you have the dork, you have the weirdo jock, you have the woman that's really involved in her fitness. She's the Fergie of the movie.
Sporty Spice.
But, yeah, like I said, it is not where I would put it. That one would also go a little bit higher, but I'm okay with it being where it is.
Is this the one that opens with like a nun getting raped by...
No, that's Dream Child.
That's Dream Child. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything else you wanted to say, Cory? And to you sound very disappointed.
I really, really do enjoy this movie.
Okay.
And it's kind of near and dear to my heart.
But you're saving the stab in case Casey goes completely AWOL on this list.
Yes. If there is... I have a major issue with a particular movie. And it is not the movie that you think that it is.
Maybe this is not going to be as copacetic as I thought it was going to be.
And I think Casey, because of the thing that I may have said earlier, might know what it is.
I think I know what it is.
All right,
yeah.
all right.
We'll get to it when we get to
We're
it.
definitely going to get to it. All right.
Okay.
Cory, I think we know what comes next. You got number 6, right?
Okay.
Hand me your 6.
Yeah, I'll give you the 6th card. This is fucking up my list, man. That's alright. Okay, I am just gonna play this because I don't even think this deserves to be on the list, but I don't want it played higher.
All right, at number 6, Cory's first entry on the list is Freddy versus Jason.
Yeah, Freddy vs. Jason is basically a movie that was in development hell for a very long time. And it's about Freddy. It's kind of like we were talking about with Freddy's Dead. Freddy is using Jason in order to get people to come to him that he can kill them. And it features a Jay and Silent Bob style character in it. Kelly Rowland is horrible in the movie, but she's fun, I guess. I don't know. Everything about that movie just... I'm gonna say one thing. Okay.
Before you do that, I want to say this is subjectively my favorite of the series.
Okay. I think between this and the remake, and this was what I was debating, this and the remake.
Oh my god.
Ronnie Yu
I am shocked
and the
right now.
screenwriters were given so much to work with. It was an easy road, and this is what they came up with. Remaking the first film is such an uphill battle. I'm surprised that they got away with... It's still a horrible movie, but I'm surprised that they got away with what they got away with. But, yeah, and also, it's less of a Freddy film to me. It's more of a... I mean, one of the focal points is an entire gathering of people, of Jason just going around hacking people with a machete. And I like Friday the 13th. I think it's fun. But I want a little bit more nightmare in my Nightmare on Elm Street films. And I don't think it's a bad movie. I think that there are a lot of people that aren't fans of the franchise that might really love it.
Do you think this is more of a Friday the 13th movie than it is a Nightmare movie?
Yes, I do.
Really?
Very interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
The reason that's interesting to me is when we did our Friday the 13th, I was going to leave this movie off the list because I don't think it's a Friday the 13th movie. I think it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
I think that there are very few sequences that take place in the dream world. It's all in the real world, and it's all hack and slash with Jason.
The reason I would more classify it as a Nightmare movie because it's Freddy. He's pulling the strings the entire time.
Yeah.
The kids need to figure out not how to stop Jason. They need to stop Freddy.
But I also am...
Which I'm fine
back
with.
in the day when that movie came out, it had been around for years that they were planning on doing this.
Yep. And
I had heard of so many different screenplays. I went through, Chud.com when that was still a big thing and Devin was still working there. Ain't It Cool News, just new developments that were happening. And one screenplay, which I've actually read, it was kind of interesting.
Which one was that?
The reason that they were fighting each other is they would insinuate that Freddy was a camp counselor there and had molested Jason.
I would have hated that version. It's a more interesting one.
It's interesting as to... And Jason's afraid of water? Really? Jason's afraid of water? Oh,
Well, he did drown.
Yeah, but that is the one thing that Freddy can use against him.
It is a pretty cut and dry. Oh, Freddy hates fire. Jason hates water. Water and fire. They don't. Yeah.
And I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I will throw it on. I think it would probably be the first film that I would, other than another one which I absolutely adore, that I would show to my wife because I think it is a fun popcorn MTV style movie. And Ronnie Yu, he's done some really good Hong Kong action. It's just I'm not a huge fan of his American films, but whatever. We're gonna leave it there.
I'm glad we got some controversy going on.
I
expected this to go like top 3, honestly.
This is in my personal, at least top 5.
So it's not far off.
It's not far off, but I would have liked it maybe 2 places higher. I love Freddy vs. Jason. This is the one I probably, besides the first Nightmare, I've seen the most. Okay. I think it's just a fun, like you said, it's a popcorn movie.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's no great subtext on it. It's a WWE version. It's Freddy fighting Jason. That final throwdown at the camp, I think, is a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I think Robert Englund is just having a blast as Freddy and getting to finally make this movie that I think he's been wanting to do since, I don't know, whenever this concept was first pitched to them.
Let me put it this way. The boxing thing that they did right before the movie came out is more entertaining than anything in the fucking movie.
The only thing I wish with that is that Kane Hodder was Jason in this. Yes. I think that's a huge misstep that they take.
Did you hear why he's not in the movie?
Is it because he's too short?
No, supposedly, Ronnie, you didn't think he had the right eyes for the part.
I also think Ronnie Yu wasn't the best choice of director for this movie in particular. I think if you gave him a Friday the 13th movie, that would have been fun.
Oh, yeah.
But
I mean, which one was it? Bride of Chucky that he did, I think?
Yes.
Yeah. Didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
The very similar tone, those two movies, Bride of Chucky and Freddy vs. Jason. But for me, as far as like the teenage characters go, this is the best, at least in the Friday series. They're fine for the Nightmare series. I think Nightmare series has unarguably better teenage characters.
And I want to go in here because I hate shitting on movies.
Keep going, man.
No, I hate shitting on movies that people might really love. I'm not saying that this is just personally for me because I had the history with it.
Yeah.
If you enjoy that movie, good on you, man. I'm really happy that you're involved in the franchise.
Yeah. I'm fine. I'm gonna leave it here.
Okay.
Because I would be scared you'd put the remake
I
there
just
instead.
want to let you know, Corey, I am here for you to make kids cry over their favorite movies. I'm here for you to do that. Because I'm going to do it if I don't like a movie. So.
Okay.
I have one final thing. It has nothing to do with Freddy. I love the Jason bed kill where he collapses the bed on the kid.
Yeah.
One of my favorite Jason Voorhees kills.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's fun.
Are we ready for number 5?
I'm ready.
All right. Corey, are you have 5 ready?
Well, yeah. This one, it's kind of a good one to be at 5.
Okay. At number 5, Corey has chosen A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, A Dream Child.
Yeah, that is... We'll get into our list later on, but I still have a love of this movie. I still own this movie on VHS. It has the unrated version of it, and I think it's the only version that came out in America that has the unrated version. But basically, Alice from the 4th film, and her boyfriend Dan, if I'm not mistaken.
Dan.
Yeah. They are having a kid, and the kid is going to be used as a vessel to bring Freddy back to life. And she has a bunch of different friends. I mean, it's pretty much the story of every single one of them. It's just the reason that Freddy is coming back that's a little bit different. But I think that this particular movie, I love some of the kills. I like the force-fed kill. I think that...
Bon appetit,
yeah.
bitch.
But I think that this is there are moments in it that are amazingly brilliant. I think that the effects work on the motorcycle transformation is super fun. It's better in the unrated version. I think that there are kills that aren't as cool. I don't hate the comic book kill as much as everyone else does, but it's not... It's just a big, giant, hulking guy playing Freddy. It's not actually Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think the force-fed thing is the reason that I... And also, I like I can't think of her name. Who plays her best friend in that?
Actress Kelly Jo Minter?
Yes. Yeah, I love Kelly Jo Minter. She was pretty much she was in The Lost Boys, People Under the Stairs, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I think Summer School?
Yep.
And
she's a good best friend in this movie.
She is.
Yeah.
And she just has that attitude. She has the badass little, attitude that kind of is missing from the rest of her friend group. She is the one that you remember. And she helps kind of lead Alice, who isn't much of a character in this. As far as the Scream Queen type of thing goes, I love Lisa Wilcox. I really do. But she does not do her best work in this. I think that the opening moment in the shower is pretty cool, though.
The shower filling up with water?
Yeah.
Yep. I think this is a perfect spot for this.
Yeah.
On my personal list, it's probably right around 5.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think the overall story of like a single mother trying to bring a child into the world and how that reflects Freddy's mother and Freddy is great. Like there's good subtext in this movie that I think was missing from what I played at 7 Part 4, and I think like teenage pregnancy is something like movies don't like to deal with, especially like
Mainstream
movies.
It
Mainstream
deals with
movies,
the abortion issue in a really kind of frank manner.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable film.
If the dad wants her to get an abortion,
Yes.
right? Yeah, her dad. Yeah. And I think I disagree a little bit on Alice in this one. I like her a lot better in Dream Child than I do in Dream Master. I think she has a lot more to do, for one. And then I also like Dan for the brief moments that we get him. I think he's a lot better. He's a better actor, for sure, than from Dream Master. And like you said, that motorcycle kill is awesome.
Yeah.
I also like the comic book kill. I think it's fun.
It's fun.
It's fun.
And it's the reason that we watch Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I mean, it's less to do with Jason smashing a person up against a tree in a sleeping bag, and it's more, okay, what situation are we going to put said character in that is their fear? And you can pretty much do whatever because it's a nightmare universe.
Yeah, I love the fact that the ending is just the labyrinth area with the kid from Jurassic Park. Yeah, he's a super creepy looking kid too.
Joseph Mazzello?
I think so. Yeah.
The raptor kid from Jurassic Park, is that
really?
Yeah,
I didn't know he was in a Nightmare movie.
Yep, he plays the dream version, I guess, of Alice's kid.
Yeah,
interesting.
Yeah, I think it's a fun movie.
Did you not make it to 5?
I made it to 3.
Okay.
So I have some, so the other day I was upset that I didn't get to watch the entire series, and then I became okay with it. And now discussing these movies, I was like, I just need to go back and watch the rest of the series.
I don't think that there is a bad movie in the series proper. Okay. I mean, even Freddy vs. Jason is a lot of fun for what it is.
Right.
I would say that there's even some interesting things in the remake, but yeah. It's just a fun series. It really is. So.
I just wanted to. I happened upon the taglines for this movie.
Okay.
I wanted to read a couple of them because I find them entertaining. Roll over Beethoven. It's Freddy's 5th. Mm-hmm. Love that. Mm-hmm. Freddy delivers, which I think is.
That's the poster tagline.
Yeah, it's great. Now Freddy's a daddy. He's killing for 2. I love this era of horror movies where they had a lot of fun with the taglines. And another thing I want to say on the series as a whole is, I think looking back on the posters of this series, they're by far my favorite posters. In like walking through the horror section as a kid, and seeing the VHS covers. These are by far my favorite of any series or movies.
Yeah, I love the fact that Freddy's going into this unborn child's dreams. Yeah, like one of the writers, I'm sure, just found out about that. Like that's a thing that babies dream, and he's like, "Well, I'm gonna put that in a nightmare movie." That's awesome concept.
Yeah. Very few people talk about this because they kind of focus on Rennie Harlan and bringing more of an MTV style to it. But I think Stephen Hopkins, as a director, actually does a hell of a lot with the concept and just themes and motifs in the filmmaking style that I don't know if the movie quite deserves some of the shots that are in the film. Yeah. But yeah, Stephen Hopkins.
He's made some good movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree where you're coming from. That's why I like this one slightly better than Dream Master. Okay. It's got the concepts, it's got the underlying themes that I think are just cool to have in a mainstream movie with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Gentlemen, I have the rat. I have the hat ready for the second part of this draw. So we'll let Casey go first this time since Cory drew first. Oh, hold on, sir. I'm going to read it so you can't see it here. All right. Cory.
All right.
All right. Spots 4 through 1. Here we go. Casey, off the bat. Casey at the bat.
At the bat.
All right. At number 8, I believe Casey went first. Casey chose Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. At number 7, Casey chose number 4, The Dream Master. At number 6, it was Freddy vs. Jason. At number 5, The Dream Child. And in the 4th spot, Casey has chosen A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge.
Yeah.
Casey.
Freddy's Revenge. So this one takes place roughly 5-10 10 years after the original film, a new family has moved into Nancy's house. Their son, Jesse, has begun to experience the nightmares, very much like Nancy did in the first film, about this scarred man with the hat that we know as Freddy Krueger. And basically what Freddy wants now is for Jesse to be a catalyst for him to now enter the real world. He isn't trying to have Jesse bring him people into the dream world or bring him new prey. He wants to take over Jesse's body and basically have him be the body to his brain. And why I put it at number 4 is because, again, the underlying subtext in this film is fantastic. The first time I watched this, I'm like, it's all right. It's fun. It's a fun Freddy movie. But the other ones are better. But now looking at it now through a different lens and realizing this is a movie about a high school aged boy who is realizing and coming to terms with the fact that he's gay. It's not, Freddy is technically a metaphor for him coming out, and I think looking at it through that lens adds a lot to this movie. It makes it a much smarter horror film. I think the effects in it are great. And yeah, Freddy's Revenge, I think, is a perfect spot at number 4. It's much better upon multiple rewatches.
And it is very, very close to where it is on my list. So I am perfectly cool with this. So I guess in a lot of ways, it's not going to be... We are going to be kind of copacetic.
I think so, yeah.
Top 3. So
what do you love about Freddy's Revenge?
I think the makeup of Freddy is fantastic.
I thought it was terrifying.
He's scary.
Yeah.
He's really scary in this one.
Even you've got the body and I've got the brain where he rips open part of his flesh. The makeup effects in this are fantastic. And I think that they did as much as they possibly could have, basically making a film in less than a year. I think it was made in the span of 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and that includes script writing and everything. So I think New Line realized that they had a hot property on their hands and they didn't know what to do with it, so they just kind of threw as much as they could out there.
They even recast Freddy Krueger in this one.
Yeah.
And then they realized, well, this stunt actor is not going to work. We need Robert back. We'll give him whatever he needs to come back. And obviously, that's the choice. He is Freddy Krueger.
And Mark Patton is a lovely fellow. And I think that his performance in this, he gets it. He knows what the movie is. It has a scene in it that rivals the Crispin Glover dance scene in the 4th Friday the 13th film.
I don't think it rivals. I think it is far and away better.
Yes, because he's dancing with the tennis racket. Man.
Yes. The tennis racket, the sunglasses, the twerking to close his dresser drawer. It's amazing. I love that scene.
It has Clu Gulager in it. Yeah. Clu Gulager. I mean, if you don't know Clu Gulager, probably most people would know him as the main old guy in Return of the Living Dead. And he is also in his son's films, the Feast series. And yeah, if you don't know who Clu Gulager is, check him out.
Yeah, he plays Jesse's dad in this movie.
Yes, he does.
I think there's one bad scene in this movie, and it includes him, unfortunately. It's the scene with the bird that spontaneously combusts. It's not a great scene. It feels like filler.
But it's kind of hilarious.
It is. And you did the whole reason we're doing this episode is because you brought this movie up when we talked about movies so bad they're good. Where I think that is the dance scene in the bedroom is part of that, and then the bird exploding is another.
It is, and I will reiterate kind of something similar to what I said there. It is a movie where some people involved understood what it was going for, and some people did not. And unfortunately, the people that did not had more of an influence on the style of the film. And I love Jack Shoulder. He made, once again, I will state, I love The Hidden. I think The Hidden is one of the lost masterpieces of of the 80s, 90s. But Kyle MacLachlan's fantastic in it. He just was not Jack Shoulder's not a good director for a Freddy film. But it's fun, and I would highly recommend people watching it.
Yeah, I honestly watched this one, and it played less to me than I remember it. But there's moments in it that I really, really enjoyed. Freddy jumping out of the house through the glass doors, going invisible is one of my favorite childhood memories of this movie. Mm-hmm. The dog.
The two dogs at the end. Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, I mean, this is fine. I love the Meryl Streep lookalike in this movie. Mm-hmm. She's really good. I don't know where I'd place this, but it's fine. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fun. I love the sequence in the school bus.
Yes.
Some of my the opening and
both.
Just that setting
it's a great opening.
Yeah, it is, and I think Mark Patton is fantastic in this movie.
Yeah, there's a film festival in Los Angeles called the Outfest where they play a lot of queer films, and there's a documentary about this that's playing the festival where
what's the title? Is it called Scream Queens?
Something like that.
I think so. Yeah. I'll look it up.
So
I'm looking forward to watching that when it comes out.
All right, who has number 3?
I have number 3.
All right.
The title is called Scream Queen: My Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
And this is the one that might get you to stab me, but
I won't stab you for real. Just
okay.
With the number 3 pick.
Okay.
Okay. Yep.
Cory has chosen the original Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yes, I have.
Cory, you're on trial here. What's
No, I know. I absolutely adore Wes Craven. It introduces one of the greatest scream queens of all time, Heather Langenkamp. She is the face, other than Freddy, of this series in my opinion. It is much like Freddy. I will explain the plot. Basically, Heather and a bunch of her friends finally realize that her parents are involved with a conspiracy of a child molester named Freddy Krueger, and he was exonerated of the crimes that he was on trial for, and so they decided to burn him alive. And now the soul of Freddy is coming back and killing people in their dreams. It is a fantastic concept, and I'm not even gonna say, oh, I like this one less than the other ones.
Sure.
The only reason that I place this here is it seems like the weird oddity of the series, kind of like Freddy's Revenge, because it is going for a darker tone, and it is a tone that the rest of the series didn't really play into until Wes Craven came back and did another film. And I mean, this is the one that I've probably seen the most, other than the other two that I'm going to list. So this was more just part of my list, and this is exactly where the original fell. I don't really have anything else to say. I don't feel terribly strong on this as I do with my top 2.
I love. Okay, so we're in the top 3 here. I love whatever's left, and I know one of them that should not make this list of the 4 movies that we have available. But the original is. There's not much else that can be said about it. It is an all-time classic. It is one of the greatest horror films of all time. It is one of the best original concepts that is, in my opinion, ever been created for film.
And all because Wes Craven as a kid saw a dude standing outside of his window wearing a red and green sweater just staring at him.
That's and I love that story, and I love the concept that he came up with, and I think this is the scariest out of the series still to this day.
Yeah.
Freddy is terrifying. Robert Englund is top notch in this. The sequence that still haunts me, and it's maybe because it's not really hokey. That's not really the right term, but it's very unrealistic / like very. It's the scene where Freddy's running through the alleyway and his arms are super extended. It's just really weird, and it doesn't look great, but yet it's terrifying just because he's just in silhouette chasing after this young girl, and he's just a madman. And this original movie, it's perfect.
It is.
Yeah, I rewatched it, a few weeks ago, and I had seen it a couple times before, and I wasn't, bowled over by it. But this last viewing, I found it very fascinating. Like, this movie does something that very few other movies do. And the one that off the top of my head that I can think of is the original Terminator by James Cameron, where there's no sitting around explaining the plot. You find out everything as the characters find out. Mm-hmm. And I think by having the opening of the movie with opening with a dream, and I know today that's passé and it's done to death, but back then, opening the movie within a dream, it sort of sets up this whole thing of you never really know where you're at.
Well, and it creates, with its ending, it creates something within the franchise that kind of continued on, which is, there are no happy endings. She's still stuck in a dream. Yeah. And there is no hope. We're lost. Yeah,
going back to the beginning, it doesn't start off with Nancy dreaming.
Right. No.
It's our friend Tina,
right.
Where you think, we're going to follow this girl. She's the blonde hair, blue-eyed girl. We're going to follow her. She's going to be our final girl. No, she's the first person to die in this movie. In a brutal death.
Yeah.
People get slaughtered in this movie.
Mm-hmm. And some of the best kills in this entire series is just from this first film.
I agree, this is one of the best horror movies ever made. Period.
The Johnny Depp kill, I
now, Nancy.
Yeah, geez.
With the tongue coming out of the phone, yes.
I also forgot how little Freddy Krueger is actually in the movie, too. He's not in it that much.
Yeah, he's in it less than 15 minutes of screen time, yeah.
And at this point in time, this is the movie that kind of helped Wes Craven become the Wes Craven that we know. He had a few flops here and there, and thankfully New Line gave him a chance on this.
His filmmaking is really refined in this compared to the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, Last House on the Left is not even a film, it's an experience, and The Hills Have Eyes has more of a filmmaking technique, but it is more of a documentary style.
Yeah.
And Hills Have Eyes Part 2 is, less said about that, the better.
John Saxton in this movie, we haven't brought him up.
Yes.
I think he is the unsung hero of the few films he is in. He is so good in these.
Well, and it gives you an adult in the film that isn't some crazy alcoholic, that actually learns to understand that, I guess this could actually be happening, and it gives a weight to the film that doesn't necessarily have it, and also he's just a consummate actor. He really is. So,
yeah. It sounds like he was also a really big horror fan. I think he went on to direct horror movies after this.
I can't recall. I know that he was in a few of the Italian cannibal movies, but I can't recall which ones right off the top of my head. I feel like a really bad horror fan.
Yeah, he directed some prison movie where they were turning inmates into werewolves or something. Or I can't remember. Okay. But anyway, I know that just really quickly on the original. One thing I just thought of now is I feel like the original Friday. I always get these series mixed up. The original Nightmare is also has subtext for parents not understanding their kids going through obviously parents have been through the whole thing. They, when kids and teenagers are you just don't understand. It's well, we do. I don't understand you. And I feel like that movie really speaks to that experience where the parents are well, I do know, and they're no, you don't know. And I think that this movie
it gives the kids a voice. Yes. And going off that, it's also the sins of the parents these kids are paying for.
Right.
None of this would be happening if
Right.
the parents didn't go and just burn this guy alive. Like, he wouldn't be coming back for these kids if it wasn't for the parents.
And it brings back the concept that was brought up in Halloween that was lost during the Friday the 13th days, which is we actually create characters in this that we care about. They aren't just fodder for Freddy.
Right.
When someone dies, you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
And because you kind of learn to love these characters. Even Tina's boyfriend, who is probably the most non-character in the film. He's just the bad guy. He's just the bad boy of the film. But even he, when he is hanged, you kind of feel it. And that is something that was missing from the Friday the 13th series. And
that's why I place the Nightmare series so much higher than that, and even the Halloween movies. You care about characters in pretty much all of these movies.
I mean, to the point where there was anger, and we brought it up about Dream Master, where you just unceremoniously killed off characters that we cared about. And you don't get that when, say, a character that escapes one of the Friday films makes it to the sequel. I mean, do you really care that they die? No, it's just the way that you shake up things in the beginning.
Yeah.
So, it sounds like this is staying?
I think I'm going to leave it here.
Wow.
I'll explain it with this next pick, because I do have the number 2 pick.
Okay.
And it is the only reason I'm keeping the original at 3 is because I need something at number 1 now.
Okay. I'm curious.
And giving myself this number 2 pick, it only leaves Cory with hopefully one option.
Oh, yeah.
All right. At number 2, Casey is playing Wes Craven's A New Nightmare.
Scream before Scream. New Nightmare is a film that the first time I watched it, I hated because I wanted Freddy spewing one-liners, hacking and slashing teenagers in their dreams. And this is not that. This is Wes Craven's meta version of Freddy Krueger and bringing him into the actual real world. It's all about it follows real-life actress Heather Langenkamp and how her and her son deal with the nightmare that becomes the real-life version of Freddy Krueger. And I think what makes this movie work is it's basically almost a parody of at least a satire of the Nightmare sequels, where it is Robert Englund is just basking in this glory of being this character of Freddy Krueger. Heather's kind of on the fence about it throughout, and it's all about Wes Craven is trying to come up with this new idea to bring Freddy Krueger back, and it's about Freddy entering the real world through Heather's son in the movie, and I think this is a great, almost like precursor to what we get with Scream from Wes Craven, and it is a great return to form from Wes Craven's original to now New Nightmare.
Well, and for me, this is the film that, out of everything in the series, got under my skin the most, because it deals with reality and it deals with the concept of horror films and what horror films mean to society and what we create when we create this thing. You know, is it just there to watch people get killed and that's it? Or does it have other consequences? And I actually, in a lot of ways, because of, and it's not just a first reaction to the film that I had, I almost would place this higher than Scream, in my opinion, in his filmography. But I love Scream. But this one, for some reason, it's an entire film meant to make you uncomfortable for liking the series. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
To the point where they create characters that you absolutely adore and are fun and lovable just to brutally fucking kill them. And I love the fact that there was an actual earthquake that happened while they were filming, and they just factored that into the movie.
Yeah, this movie makes our very own, I guess, two-timers club along with Freddy vs. Jason, because this was brought up in our 90s countdown. Yep. Very high up as well, and
I know you have a differing opinion on it than...
I like it a lot. It's one of my favorite... I'd probably say it's my second or third favorite movie in the series. So I disagree with you saying it's better than Scream.
I do too, because I feel the Wes Craven, it's not fully... How do I want to put it? The script isn't as tight as Kevin Williamson's script for Scream.
I think the impact of Scream is much higher than
that too.
And I understand that.
But this is the right step for Scream.
But this one, for me, Scream, I love it. And I love that entire series, except for 3, whatever. But
I think we all feel the same.
I love 3, but go on.
Although I think that it's hilarious that Aaron Kruger is the guy that wrote number 3. And, Freddy Krueger. It's a stupid joke. Sorry. But, no.
See yourself out.
Yes, I will leave now. No, this one, for some reason, whereas Scream is a little bit more jokey in what it does, and I do realize it probably had more influence on films in general, but it also had more influence on shitty movies being made. Then
you're not wrong.
I don't think he's wrong at all. Yeah.
But I think that just speaks to how good Scream is.
Well, even if we're making the argument Scream versus New Nightmare, technically New Nightmare only gets us Scream.
Yeah.
Which is a great movie, and then Scream gets us the 90s horror.
And I understand slashers needed to go through that phase of being roasted in order for, say, the French Extreme to come out. And stuff like Hostel that we had in the early 2000s Saw.
Yeah, we had to deconstruct the American slasher.
But, I don't know. I still love Scream, and I will always love Scream. Right. So I'm not saying that, Scream is shit and New Nightmare is brilliant. No, I think they're both great.
Yeah. I New Nightmare has grown on me a lot in the last 2 years.
I think it's kind of finding a renaissance amongst horror fans.
Yeah, it has. It definitely has. And again, I want to bring it up. John Saxton is great in this movie. And then once you get to the final, kind of really meta version of this movie is when John Saxton refers to Heather as Nancy. And you're like, wait, what's going on? Are they in the Nightmare series now? Is this still, are they what's going on? And I just love the mix of reality and film, and the end with Freddy burning and turning into the demon form is great.
Yeah.
And I think Freddy is terrifying in this, again, for the first time since part 2.
I think the makeup is fantastic, and his glove.
Yeah, his glove is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I like the look. I like the trench coat. I think the trench coat, it's fun. It's a new look.
It was also great to see Robert Englund in the series for the first time. Well, maybe not the first time, but prominently as himself.
Yeah,
and just kind of he's earned that.
He's
moment.
having so much fun playing himself, and I love seeing
Bob
that.
Shea is in it, and Bob Shea is probably not a highlight of the film because he is not the greatest actor in the world.
No,
but that's not.
It's fun seeing the real life people behind these movies in it. And Wes Craven's in the movies.
Yeah,
and I love the fact that it ends with the script for New Nightmare. Completely goes full circle. I love it. Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
I actually debated on putting that at number 1, but
I think we're in the part where going into this, I felt like there was a top 3. And honestly, we're hitting all 3 of them right now.
Yeah, so. I think this is the top 3. The reason I didn't stab I would put the original above New Nightmare personally on my list, but the reason I left the original is so I could play New Nightmare and get this at number 1.
Yep.
And let's get to it because I'm excited to talk about it.
Now, should you announce what it is, or should we both sing what it is?
I think we should all sing what it is.
I'm not going to sing.
Okay.
But number 8, we have number 6 in the series,
Yes.
Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. Number 7, we have Dream Master. Number 6, regretfully, Freddy vs. Jason. At number 5, we have the 5th one in the series, Dream Child. At number 4, we have Freddy's Revenge. At number 3, surprisingly, is the original Nightmare on Elm Street. At number 2, we have New Nightmare. And with the number 1 pick in the Nightmare on Elm Street draft, Cory has picked
The Dream Warriors! Yes!
Ain't gonna dream no more.
This is the number 1 right here.
Congratulations, guys.
That's
you got
it.
your movie. Cory, speak on it.
Yes. I can't remember if I talked about this at the beginning. Yeah, I did.
Yes.
It's basically about I wouldn't say an insane asylum, but a place for children.
It's a mental institution.
Yeah, it's a mental institution.
Yeah.
Children that have had troubles in their past, and they have claimed that part of the problems are Freddy, and they're trying to be controlled by this drug that keeps people from actually dreaming.
Hypnosil.
Yes, and Heather Langenkamp is back, and they have all these group sessions.
She's great in this movie, by the way.
It's the Breakfast Club of the Nightmare on Elm Street films.
It's better than Breakfast Club.
It features, if you were a kid that didn't feel like you belonged, there was a character in this film that you could relate to.
Yeah.
It features my first horror movie crush, which is the punk chick, specifically when she turns into the punk chick, and she has her little switchblade knives.
She's beautiful and bad.
Yes. And the little kid, the kid that plays his version of Dungeons and Dragons, that was me as a kid. The girl that burns herself with cigarettes, that wants to be a movie star. Just everything about this film is, and it also is the film that I think sums up the franchise the best. It is the best version of what the franchise is. Because it has elements of that MTV jokey Freddy, but it also has elements of, he's still a creepy motherfucker in this.
He's never not a threat in this movie.
Yeah.
Even if he's spewing one-liners, which are very, I think they're tame,
It
and
has
they're
the
perfectly
best
set up.
one-liner in the series.
It does. Is it the TV one?
Welcome to Prime Time.
Yeah.
bitch. Yeah.
I also love the line before that on the talk show. Who gives a fuck what you think?
With Zsa Zsa Gabor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I love Dream Warriors. This is my number 1 through and through. Like you said, Cory, it is a perfect amalgamation of what I think the original was kind of going for and what the eventual sequels go for, and it combines it perfectly. You love every one of these characters, and you hate to see when they go. Like,
Right.
I do. I hate it. I like you said, the Dungeon Master character, I wish he could do more. Like, I wish he would be in the series more.
Well, yeah.
The punk girl, Taryn, like her death is devastating, knowing her backstory, that she was a drug addict, and
Or the little mouths that form.
Yes, and Freddy pulls out the syringe gloves. Want to get high? It's heartbreaking, and you want to see more from them, and you hate when they die.
And it is a joke, but it's not a joke in the way that it becomes later on in the series. It's that's really fucking dark.
Yeah.
That's real awful.
It's not a Schwarzenegger one-liner.
Right.
It's a terrifying final thing to say to this teenage girl who went through drug addiction. And yeah, Dream Warriors is a perfect movie. I love it. The soundtrack is fantastic. The Dawkins theme song.
Yeah.
Yes.
Clearly, really well covered by both of you. So.
Yeah. We are part of the Dawkins cover band.
I want to give a special shout out to Craig Wasson, who's in this, who I think is a fantastic actor that no one really, he's so good in De Palma's Body Double, and he's really good here.
He's really good in this, and his side story of finding out who this nun is and how to where like Freddy came from is fascinating. And
his whole thing with John Saxon is kind of silly, but it's fun at the same time.
I love it. It feels like Jason and the Argonauts at the end, and I wish his character would come back. They don't ever mention him after this movie, and I hate that.
Yeah.
Like there's still my dream. Once we can kind of get to where this franchise we want it to go, I guess, in the future, is I want to just like pretty much a straight up sequel to all of these, where his character comes back and is like the Nick Fury to the new Dream Warriors, with Alice and her son are part of it, and I think that would be really cool. Where it's this Avengers style team of new Dream Warriors fighting Freddy.
I think you've created in your mind something better than they will ever do.
I unfortunately know I have, and I've written like 5 pages of it. I love it, and it's not ever going to get made, but
maybe in comic book form.
That would be cool.
That's where we got Freddy versus Jason versus Ash.
And I took part of that from it because they bring back the Dream Warriors.
Yeah.
There's a new version of the Dream Warriors in that comic book series. Yeah. But Dream Warriors is perfect. I love all the kills in it. I think my favorite out of these is the puppeteer kill.
I was just gonna say the puppet master kill.
Yeah, with the kid's tendons coming out and Freddy's controlling him like a puppet. It's disgusting.
Cool kill. Yes.
And then it has subtext in it. It's dealing with kids who are dealing with problems. They're dealing with stuff at home, and it's dealing with teen suicide. Like, this is a mainstream movie. Like, why are they dealing with teen suicide? And it's crazy that we wouldn't get away with that now. And then having that as the subtext for this fun, also terrifying horror fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, something like this, dealing with teenagers with problems. I mean, look at the backlash that something like even the new Joker trailer that was released. Oh no, this is just going to be a calling card to all those incels and the alt-right out there. And this is, oh no, this is going to convince kids that they need to try and kill themselves. No, it won't. It actually tells those kids what they're feeling is okay.
Yeah, they're not alone.
Right. I mean, one of the first scenes that you see is, Patricia Arquette with her damn wrist slit. And it's a shocking scene. And it's a scene that, until when I was a kid, it was the one thing in that movie that I could never really look at. Because it is so real and it is so
dark.
But, I mean, and then of course you have the giant Freddy penis.
I love that effect, though.
Yes.
It's great.
I mean, because that's all it is. I mean, it's Freddy as cock. And I think it also, Dream Warriors deals with the sexual nature of Freddy that doesn't always, I mean, even the scene with Joey and the nurse. And Robert Englund has stated that he kind of played the character as he didn't really care where he got his kicks. Male, female, child, doesn't really matter. He just kind of loved doing what he was doing. Mm-hmm. And I actually think that there is, because he appears as a naked girl to Joey in both the third and the fourth films. So I think in a weird way it was kind of a sexual thing for Freddy too.
And it's not overt like the remake.
No.
Yeah, I like this list. I think this is a good list here.
No, and just to let you know, once you had placed most of yours, the remake card went off to the side. Yeah.
I wasn't surprised the remake didn't make it.
I would have stabbed it off.
No matter its placement?
No matter its placement.
Okay.
I don't think it belongs on this list at all. I think there is one good concept, and it's never fully explored.
In that movie?
In that movie.
Okay.
It's the power naps.
Yeah.
But
well, I think Jackie Earle Haley tries to do something fun with the character, but the movie lets him down. And they were trying to make a different film than what he was trying to make.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Right.
I'm surprised by this list.
Yeah?
I expected...
What surprises you the most?
I expected 1 to go 1, New Nightmare to go 2, and then Dream Warriors to go 3. But I do know that Dream Warriors is a well-loved nightmare movie. So
no, going into this, I'm like, I kind of don't care where some of these land as long as I want Dream Warriors number 1 because I legitimately think it is the best of the series.
And Dream Warriors is the film I was talking about when I was talking about Freddy vs. Jason. If I were to show my wife one film that I think that she would enjoy from this series, I would start with Dream Warriors. Because... even though it's not technically like an origin story with... but the thing is
you know Freddy's...
everyone knows Freddy almost through osmosis.
Sure.
I mean, it's almost like you can show somebody Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 and without having seen the first one, although would you do that?
Because it's a better movie.
I like number 2.
Oh, I love number 2. Number 2 is one of the 3 movies of Tobe Hooper's that I was talking about. But yeah,
we should talk about that then. Tobe Hooper's he directed the pilot for Freddy's Nightmares, which is a great origin for Freddy Krueger.
No more Mr. Nice Guy. It's been 2-3 months since I've seen it. I still haven't. There are a lot of bootleg collections of Freddy's Nightmares out there, and I've been trying to track down the best one because no company has released it properly. I think the big DVD set didn't have any of them on there. The Blu-ray set, I think, has No More Mr. Nice Guy on it, but in maybe another episode, I can't recall. It's been a while since I've looked at that set. But, because I just watched it on Shudder like I think everybody else in this room did. Yeah, it's a series that isn't very good. I would say this is a rare case where I think the Friday the 13th television series is probably a more consistent series, which has nothing to do with Jason at all. It's more of just, it's almost kind of like Needful Things in a weird way. Just these cursed objects and investigations. It's like Needful Things meets Angel.
Yeah, but I've only ever Freddy's Nightmares. I've only ever seen that first episode, Freddy's Origin, and I just watched it. I think I found it on YouTube in terrible quality, but I'm like, I just want to watch it.
Archive.org actually has both seasons in relatively decent quality. So yeah, if you're looking for that, please check those out.
Find it.
The first season's actually pretty fun. As you get into the second season, you can tell that they didn't have a lot of money nor a lot of talent involved, and what talent they had in the first season moved on to Tales from the Crypt and Tales from the Dark Side. So,
yeah, I want to leave off with one more thing before we get back to you, Blake. Do you guys want to see another Nightmare movie? Robert Englund's been pitching it pretty hard in the last, at least, especially in the last just year.
Well, and he's basically...
He says he's got one more in him. I think we have to give it to him. I think we need the
as long as you bring back Ronnie Yu.
Yes.
I don't know who you'd bring back to direct at this point.
They should get Mike Flanagan to do it.
That would be killer. Or
Aja.
It Follows director.
Aja?
I think Aja.
He would be cool too. Yeah.
Look at something like Piranha. You know, Piranha has that fun, kind of campy vibe. Would
you want a campy new one though, or
I want it in this tone.
All they're gonna do.
You want Dream Warriors?
Dream Warriors tone is if they would do it. I think that's the. Robert would have a lot of. I think he'd have a lot of input because it's gonna be his last go as Freddy, and I think he deserves it. I mean, Freddy vs. Jason is fine for his final one, but I don't want it to be the last time.
It's gotta be him.
I want it to be him, his big triumphant return. We get to have Halloween come back. Fucking Leprechaun got to come. Like, they're working on all this stuff, and I'm like, just let Freddy come back. You're not worried about the rights. I don't know what New Line's waiting for. They're making $1 billion off It Chapter 1 and 2. Make it happen.
Well, I think part of the problem is, I don't know, with the other franchises, I think it's much easier to just, we got these two people, and here's the killer, just create a story off of that. And to me, Nightmare is more difficult, yet also probably easier. It's more difficult because I think that the fans of Nightmare that really love Nightmare really love Nightmare. So you're going to have people that will hate it no matter what. But it's also kind of easy because, well, the backstory has been changed so many times as far as... I mean, as long as you go up to... If it's continuation of, say, Dream Child, then... Or at least uses that as a background, then yes, you do have the history there, but even then it's kind of...
A little convoluted and mixed. Yeah.
So you can go through it, and as long as you have cool ideas of what to do for Nightmares, I don't see why they're not using the property.
Yeah.
Use the damn property.
Yeah, I don't want them to go the full Michael Bay, Platinum Dunes, dark, gritty version of Nightmare on Elm Street like they did with the Jackie Earl Haley version, but
Yeah.
I want it to have a little bit lighter tone. There are things you can still say with this concept and this character, and I don't know what New Line's waiting for.
Well, I mean, you either make it super dark and, I mean, really fully confront the sexuality and the perverseness of the Freddy Krueger character, or you make it kind of a combination of that and the campiness. And they already tried doing this super dark, but didn't actually deal with anything in it. So I'd say, yeah, make another Dream Warriors. I think that there are a lot of young kids out there that are getting into horror right now that would really respond to that. I mean, hell, they just remade Child's Play, and it was kind of interesting, I guess.
Very cool. I guess I don't really care if we get a sequel or not. I mean, if Robert Englund wants to do it and is all aboard, then who am I to argue with giving the man what he wants? I mean, I don't want to see him come back and maybe a director or a screenwriter not giving him his full due, and it turns out that the movie is like a lukewarm ending to a fantastic legacy. So
I mean, what's Chuck Russell doing right now?
That's what I was just going to say. I'm like, let's let him come back and direct it.
Yeah.
What
he did the third one, right?
Since The Mask?
He has a movie coming out this year, it looks like.
Yeah, I think it's an Indian movie. Yep.
Yeah, came out in March.
Yeah.
So why not give him another
Yeah.
Nightmare movie? Go for it.
Yeah. I say why not?
Yeah.
All right.
So, Cory, before we wrap this up, I really want to hear your personal list.
Oh, yeah. It's not surprising.
Does it deviate far from this?
No, not really. This is the reason I didn't want, 8 or 7, because I knew that number 9 for me is Freddy vs. Jason. Number 8 is the remake.
You're insane, my man.
Number 7 is Dream Child. Number 6 is Freddy's Dead. Number 5 is Freddy's Revenge. Number 4 is Nightmare on Elm Street 4, The Dream Master. Number 3 is the original. Number 2 is New Nightmare. And number 1 is Dream Warriors.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And that was always my concept with this, is pretty much you have the top 3, and you can sort of throw the rest of them wherever.
I got one question to ask, because I was
Sure.
debating using this knife.
Sure.
And that was right here at number 3.
Yeah.
So if I had taken this off, the original, would you
Yeah.
have played New Nightmare right there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would've.
Yeah, I debated it, but I'm like, maybe he's a New Nightmare. Like, New Nightmare's his shit.
So who had number 2 again?
Me.
So would you have put?
I would have put the original at 2 and left. Because I just wanted Dream Warriors at number 1. That's all
right.
that mattered.
Really,
But if
to me, it doesn't really matter the placement. I mean, they're all, the top 3 are all quality films.
Yeah.
And really, it just comes down to personal opinion. Well, I mean, the entire thing is personal
Yeah.
opinion. I get that, but really, I think if anyone does a Nightmare list, these 3 are usually in the top 3.
Yeah.
It just depends on where you place them.
yeah, I think it's a good list. I think we did
Yeah.
well. It was pretty fair.
Yeah, I didn't expect the stab to happen, but there was a split second where I was thinking, oh, this is going down, and I'm surprised it didn't happen. At that
If
point.
I ended up,
I debated it right here at number 6, Freddy vs. Jason, but I didn't know if you'd play the remake there instead.
yeah, I probably would have.
And then it
Yep.
would have been stuck
Yep.
on this list.
Yep. And I actually, before we started, or while we were explaining that, before we even picked numbers out of the hat, I was going to turn the knife around if I ended up getting A. Because I would have put much like my list, I would have put the remake there and left Freddy vs. Jason just completely off.
Okay.
And I was hoping that fate would align and I wouldn't have to do that, because giving any praise to the remake makes my heart hurt.
It's okay. I went to left it on.
That's alright.
All right.
All right, we're good with this list.
Yeah,
I'm cool with it.
Do you want me to read it one more time, or
Go for it, man.
Okay. So at number 8, we have Freddy's Dead. At number 7, we have Dream Master. At number 6 is Freddy vs. Jason. At number 5 is The Dream Child. At number 4 is Freddy's Revenge. Cory's losing it right now. I don't know why. Number 3, we have the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which I still can't wrap my head around. But at number 2, we have New Nightmare. And at number 1, we have Dream Warriors.
Dream Warriors.
Very cool.
The reason I started really kind of breaking down is when you got to number 6, just the tone in your voice changed and made me laugh.
Yeah.
And number 6, Freddy versus Jason.
I love Freddy vs. Jason, but it's a preference thing.
On my list, it would have at least gotten to 4.
Yeah. Okay. This is very cool, Cory. I'm really happy you got to come on and do this. We got to have you on for another one at some point. I think we have our next few lined up.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. What's our next one? Is our next one the Rob Zombie one? So we're gonna try and make his newest film, 3 from Hell, which comes out. It's playing 3 nights in Sioux Falls, the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th.
Yep.
Each night is a different surprise. Not surprise. You get a gift with each of them.
You get a poster for the first one, I think.
Yep. And then the second one is a making of documentary, and then the third one is double feature with Devil's Rejects.
Yep.
So we're Casey and I are going to try and make 3 from Hell, and that way we can do a top 7 list of.
We're going to include the animated.
El Supervisto?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we better find that.
Okay.
I haven't watched it either.
I will try and make that one too.
I think I own it. I'm not entirely certain.
Okay.
It might have been a random pickup from Hollywood Video when I worked there.
I feel like it would go number 8 for me anyways, but we'll see.
We'll get to it.
And then our one after is going to be is it going to be our Child's Play series?
Tentatively, that is the plan. Yeah, Child's Play with got a couple guests. We're going to be sitting it out. We're going to let them fight.
Casey and I are going to be 100% hands off on that one, which will be really interesting. And
then the last one we have scheduled is right around Halloween.
So we're doing
the Halloween series. Yeah,
that's going to be a lot of fun.
It'll be myself and Dominic Winicky. He's a local director here, and I'm excited for it. He's a big fan of the Halloween series too. And
I'm not a terribly big fan of the series, but I have ones that I love.
Yeah, that's my number 2 series after Nightmare. So,
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm excited for it.
I'm very excited for it. So to everyone out there listening in Radioland, if you love horror movies and want to be on, please shoot us a message. Email at backlot@gmail.com.
Yep, backlot605@gmail.com.
Thank you.
Yes.
Otherwise,
Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Right.
Slide into our DMs.
Yeah, please. Message us on Facebook. Join the Sioux Falls Film Community group on Facebook and post in there if you are interested. But this was a lot of fun. Thank you, Cory, for coming on. Cory, where can people find you at?
Somewhat Random Movie Collection on Instagram, and also just search for Cory and Elf Jacobsen on Facebook. I'm also there, and Twitter, which I kind of occasionally use, is CNJacobsen_913, and also I'm kind of randomly on the Sioux Falls Film Community Facebook thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Also, if you want to talk film in person with living human beings, we had our first Sioux Falls Film Community Group meetup this past Wednesday at the Full Circle Book Co-op, and it was a lot of fun.
It was a
lot of fun. So please, if you're listening and you want to come meet us and really give it to us to our face or tell us that we did something wrong, September 25th at 8 p.m. Same place, Full Circle Book Co-op. Please come down and meet us, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, it was fun. This was fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Cory, you'll definitely be back. We'll maybe do. We talked about it beforehand. Maybe just Nightmare Kills would be a fun top 8. Yeah, but we'll have you on before that, and yeah, I can't wait till next year.
Yeah, we have a lot of cool shows planned.
Yep. So thank you all for listening. Blake, do you want to do the sign off for the week,
No,
Mr. Host?
I actually didn't think of one.
I'm gonna steal your one. I liked the one from last week.
Which was one?
We're gonna use it. So Cory, thank you for being here.
Yeah.
All right, thank you all for listening, and just remember, don't go in the dark.